Good morning. My name is Claire Clark and I am from Dynam. We are supporting Highlands and Islands Enterprise to deliver this event today. It's great to have you all with us for this next session in our NEXUS webinar series. A very warm welcome to you all. Before I pass you over to Katrina Ramsey from HIE, I'd just like to spend a minute explaining how we will run today's webinar. As an audience member, you are automatically muted, but we have a couple of ways for you to get actively involved. You can use your question box at any point throughout the webinar, and we will pick up as many as we can during the Q&A. You'll also see an icon called the raised hand icon, and during question time, if you've got a mic and you want us to take you off mute so you can connect directly with our speakers, then just click on the icon and we'll get you connected. And finally, we always want to promote knowledge sharing and collaboration, so we do record every session. We will, of course, share the recording after the event, so you can watch again or share with anyone else you think may be interested. That's all from me just now. I'll pass you over to Katrina, who will introduce today's speakers. Katrina.
Thank you, Claire. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's NEXUS webinar. I'm Katrina and I work as part of the Northern Innovation Hub team at HIE. Our NEXUS webinar series is a good opportunity to find out what's going on in the life sciences, health and technology community and for making connections. As a lot of you already know, NEXUS is our co-working space based on the Inverness campus, where life science and technology companies work and collaborate in the same space. Funding for NEXUS comes from Inverness City Region Deal and European funding. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Lizi Blackwood, Senior Development Manager at HIE, who knows the Technology Placement Programme inside out, and Cecila Grigor, Director at Planit Scotland, who has recently gone through the process and has a technology placement, and she knows what it's like from the business perspective. So they'll be telling us more about how to apply for a technology placement, what the process is, and what the benefits are to the business. I'll pass you over to Lizi, who'll be able to start us off. Lizi, over to you.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining. And as Katrina said, we're just going to go through the technology placement programme, its benefits to the business, how you can apply, and what it can do for you, and also the graduates, and the eligibility and everything that goes with it. So we'll just start off just now. So the Technology Placement Programme is available to small to medium-sized businesses, including social enterprises in the Highland Council area. It's restricted to this geographical area because it's funded by the Inverness and Highlands City Region Deal. And this programme offers graduate and student placements with financial support of up to 50% funded by the programme. So with the two types of placements, graduate placements can be up to 12 months, minimum of 4, and the salary is between 18,500 up to 25,000. And that doesn't mean that you have to minimise it, leave the salary at 25,000. It can be as much as you want to pay for that role, but we would only support 50% up to 25. So in terms of how many of these placements you can have throughout the duration of this programme, you can have 2 throughout the duration. So this is running till 2025. So you could have 2, they could run consecutively together, or you could have 1 this year, you could have 1 in 2 years' time. The student placement, this runs up to 12 weeks. So usually in the summer period between semesters and years, salary is in line with the Scottish living wage. Now this is slightly different. You can have 2 of these per year, and you could have 2 every year up until 2025. If needed, depending on the projects that you have. So there's a little bit more flexibility. You can have more placements with students. So to actually be eligible for this, can you switch that on off the screen? Is that back there?
Yeah, we can see it fine. It's perfect.
Okay, so to be eligible, the business needs to have a project to undertake. So it needs to focus on some form of technological innovation, which will bring some form of change to the organisation. So it could be that you want to improve an internal process, you want to introduce a new product or service to the market. It might be you want to embed a completely new system. But as long as you're using technology in some way to achieve one of those things, then that would be eligible. Okay, so what I've done here is pulled some stats which were taken in October, I think, so they're very recent. And this is just to show you the number of placements that we've supported, and also the types of sectors. So we've had 21 graduate placements, that has slightly gone up, and 5 student placements. And as you can see, the type of sectors do range quite a lot. We're not limited to techie industries, which I think is something that has been a perception of the programme before. So we've had a large amount of technology and advanced engineering. As you can see, there's tourism, creative industries, food and drink, finance, business services, life science and energy. And we've seen many more inquiries from different sectors as well. So it's certainly not sector specific. So here, this is just to show the type of projects that have been supported, and just to see the range. And I mean, new systems seems to be the dominant type of project that's come through, but as you can see, there's certainly been some process improvement and new products and services as well. But the area and knowledge of the qualifications that have been adopted and brought into the business to undertake the project vary as well. So as you can see here, the new product and service required some engineering skills and data analysts. But then to embed the new system, there's a range of different knowledge areas there. So engineering, data, business management, digital marketing, IT, web development, programming. So they do really range. I mean, you can see engineering runs through all of that actually. Seems to be a popular skill set that's been adopted into businesses for the project. But again, with the improvement of internal processes, tourism management, IT, engineering, data, web development seem to be the types of skills that businesses are looking for. But again, that's not all of the skills that we're seeing coming through. So the part of the programme that I think is the most I guess a huge benefit to the business is the fact that we offer recruitment support. So not only do we help you develop the project, and we go through all of the different elements of it. If it's a 12-month project, we at HIA can help you go through the start to see, okay, so if it's a 12-month project, we'll break that down into tasks, milestones. Is that actually too long, or do we need to break it down a little bit more? Is that too much for a graduate to achieve, for example? So you get all of that support from the beginning. But what we also do is offer the recruitment support at the end to help you develop the job description, make sure that you're very clearly explaining to the graduate or the student what it is that you're expecting from them, what you as a business can offer to them to add value to that role, and also, to explain the types of things that they'll be, going to achieve. And really, it's an entry to employment for them coming out of education. So it's a huge step. So as I say, we create the job description. We advertise the vacancy on the High website. We promote through High's social media channels and partner agencies. And then what we do is we also go on to all the university platforms, and we advertise the posts through there. So you get a huge, we gather a huge reach from graduates nationally. And we just make sure that we've got one place for them to come and see. So we share that link to the employer, and they can put that through their channels as well. I'm sure Cecilia will explain. She utilised this service herself. I'm sure she can explain how it went for her. So once we've collected, we usually have a 3-week sort of recruitment drive. Once that's finished, somebody will go through those. They will check, are the graduates eligible? Is that somebody they would like to see? And then we send all of those CVs and application forms to the employer. So you're literally just given graduates or students that were eligible for the role, and then you can go through the selection process from there. So just to provide a bit of background to some of the projects that we've supported, just sort of give a few case studies here. So Pure Water International, based in Inverness, they had a containerised water treatment filter, a product that was available for home and commercial sectors. And this was really at the sort of development stage. And this business required 2 separate graduates to come in pretty much similar time. I think there was maybe a 3-month interval to come in and develop the prototypes for this product. So the first graduate was employed to come in and design and prepare the manufacturing and to actually support the senior engineer that was in post developing this product. And then a couple of months later, another engineer came in to complete the final stage, a smaller scaled down version for the home market. And David, the CEO of this company, has been really supportive of the programme and has felt that actually without these graduates, this would have been, this has accelerated this product by 18 months, which is huge benefit for him. And he's kept these graduates on, he's kept them in the company. He feels like they've added huge value to the company, not just the product. Okay, so a completely different company here. So we've got ID8, which is a medical development company based in Inverness. And this company focuses on 3 different elements: digital health, medical advice, and pharma biotech. This company required, even though they're a very techie business, it wasn't actually anything to do with the products that they required a graduate to come in for. This was very process focused. So the company required some knowledge and intellect on how to get a process streamlined for research and development and quality, and translate all of the documentation they already had in a current paper-based format into a user-friendly web-based format. So they hired a graduate for 12 months who came in with some IT skills and to develop that project. Again, we spoke to the CEO of this company who said that taking on a graduate is the way for almost every business to prepare for the future post-COVID-19. He said that he's found that graduates are extremely quick to pick up new skills and apply new technologies while bringing in fresh thinking to the existing team. By bringing that skill set in-house, the business will benefit. He's really found this a good experience. Okay, so we've got an energy company, Proterra Energy, who had developed and created a hydro trailer, which is a power system for developing countries. It's a standalone off-grid power source. And again, this was not really focused on the product itself, which had already been developed. This company required a graduate to come in to develop a database, needed to create a database to simplify the process of finding suppliers for specific parts for the prototype itself, or the product itself. So when they were looking and sourcing, they're all over the world, and when they were sourcing a specific piece of, for the machinery, it was quite a complex system, so a process. So what they were doing was, it was taking a long time, making things quite a long drawn out process. So by having a database with suppliers already on there, contact information, put in a way of selecting the favourite and the preferable company, this just has saved them time and improved efficiency for them. This was a student. And finally, we have Crew, which is a social enterprise on the in Sleat on the Isle of Skye. And they have a hub which contains a shop, an event space and a cafe. And up until this graduate had come in, they were managing all of the bookings online manually. And this was taking quite a lot of time. There was a bit of human error naturally, and being quite a small company in a small area, that was just becoming quite problematic. So the manager here identified a requirement to innovate the company digitally, and decided that they were going to put in a system that meant that the bookings could be done online. So a graduate was brought in to create a digital booking system, embed the system they had already bought, and this was to then improve the efficiency of the company, help them to grow. Then on the back of that, there was also another sort of side project where the graduate was to increasing the digital presence through the booking system, social media, that kind of thing. So you can have social media tasks within the project, but it's not the sole element. But if you're putting in a new booking system, you're going to want to let your customers know that. So it seems that it kind of goes hand in hand. There might be a little bit of that in part of the project. So in terms of the benefits to the business, as we've seen through some of those case studies, there's an increase in growth and productivity. It's reducing outsourcing costs by bringing that knowledge in-house. You're gaining innovative thinking, you're getting that enthusiasm, somebody that wants to come in and really get to the grips of the project and start from scratch. It's reducing the project risk caused for the cost, and it's increasing competitiveness in national and global markets. It can expand on new products and services, as we've seen again with those case studies, and creating sustainability and resilience. So the benefits to the graduates and the students, of course, this is increasing employability. It's giving them their first kind of point, entry into the market, into the workplace, improving their confidence, their sense of responsibility, and making them feel they've actually got something to achieve. They are able to make better, more informed decisions on their career choice by having an opportunity to be in a particular sector or using their skills in a certain way. And of course, this all has benefits to the Highlands on a whole. So we want it to be a more attractive place for young people to live and work, offer them those opportunities to be here, and to increase economic performance. And that's everything. So thank you very much for listening. For any further information, there's got more case studies on the website at Tech Placements on the High website page at high.co.uk. Thank you
so much, Lizzie. I've brought Cecilia on now to join you, and if you want to introduce her and ask her to explain her involvement in the placement and the project, that would be great.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, so Cecilia's here. She approached myself with regards to a tech placement to employ a graduate, and has been through the process and also the recruitment. So I'll say no more, and I'll leave Cecilia to explain a little bit more about the placement itself, the project she's undertaking, and how she found the process going through it.
No problem. So Cecilia here from Planit Scotland. We are based in Inverness but have clients throughout the UK. And as Lizzie said, I approached her because I think everyone's had to look at the business model during COVID. And as we had to tighten our belts, we also had to look at the sustainability of what we were trying to offer. And I seen a bit of an opportunity with regards to coming out of being reactive with clients to try and be proactive, and what that looked like and how we could get there. And for me, it's about the data. I always tell clients about, we need to understand what's going on with your website, who your customers are, make sure that you know who's going to your website rather than you thinking who your customer is. And I kind of sat down and I said, right, okay, what does that look like for us? Do we physically have time in our team to start really looking at the data when we're trying to be reactive for the clients and give them everything they need now? So when I approached Lizzie, I just asked for any support that might be available, and the technology placement was available, and I met the criteria as long as it was tech. And I think, as Lizzie mentioned, it can be about social media, but not just about posting on social media. It's got to be more than that, so the behind the scenes of it. So for me, I wanted someone to come in and work with us on creating reports for clients, understanding what the data is telling us and what the opportunities might be. So for example, Google is a massive machine, but do we understand how we can get organic growth more so than just throwing money at advertising? Because there's a two-prong approach there. Google wants to be your friend, so it's important to understand the channels. So when I approached Lizzie, we did know what we wanted, but we didn't at the same time. So Lizzie kind of not pushed back a little bit, but she had all her documents and her paperwork, and she said, what is the next 12 months look like if you had one person? That made us really think about, what did that 12 months look like? Because I think as an employer, you're busy and, okay, I need an extra pair of hands. It would be very easy for me just to throw an advert on Indeed and do some interviews and get a person. But actually going forward, it's getting the right person, someone that's really, really enthusiastic about data. So we worked together to break down what the next 12 months looked like. We did it month on month, and then said, okay, then for the first 3 months, this is a realistic goal. I'm happy to say it's been less than a month I've had Sean in the team, and he's already smashing those goals. So I think what Lizzie mentioned there about having a passion of a graduate in a business, it does make a difference, because they're coming in with a fresh pair of eyes. They've got a skill set that we probably haven't learned about yet, because again, we've been living in such a reactive world over the last 2 years. So yeah, the recruitment aspect of it was great, because all I had to do really was map out what the next 12 months would look like for the ideal candidate without having to put a picture on that person. What skills do I need that person to have? So I need them not just the physical skill of understanding how to use data or look for data, but are they passionate about what they're doing? Because that's really what makes a difference in my business, is making sure that everyone is excited about what they do and the difference they can make. So very quickly we had a bit of a job description. So on the back of doing the 12 months, we had the job description, we had the 12-month plan, and I feel like that's all I did, and Lizi did the rest. She went out to market, she said that we had this job opportunity. I put it on the website, and I think we did actually put it on Indeed, and I think anyone on the call that will know with regards to recruitment, when you put a job advert out, it can go one way or the other. You can have 2 applicants or you can have 105. When we've done it recently, without the placement, we had over 80 candidates for a marketing role. And then you're having to spend time going through them all. Do they meet the criteria that you actually set? Lizi did all of that for me. So Lizi made sure that every box that I put there that I wanted ticked, Lizi cross-referenced with every application that came in. So by the time of me getting, I think it was just over 18 applications that we got in the end. And as Lizi said, it was over a 3-week period. Literally, I had 18 potential candidates that did all tick all the boxes from an outside perspective, looking at the applications. We don't have an HR person, it is in-house. So we don't have that luxury of having someone monitoring everything that comes in. It would all fall on me. So that was a great help from Lizi doing that. Very quickly, we set up first interviews, we did second interviews, and then we narrowed it down to 3. They did a project task for us, and we picked the candidate that we thought would make the biggest difference in the business, but also work well with the team and the clients. So it's been a great experience for us, and I'm so excited about what the next 11 months will bring, because the first month has been great. It's been brilliant having someone in the team that's just focusing on getting us out of that reactive state and looking at the proactive based on the data, because that's what everyone's telling us to do. So it's important you actually allocate time to do that. So from my perspective, I will always fly the flag about this placement. One of the clients of mine is Harry. So I've actually been through that process of watching their placement grow in their team, and they're still there right now. And like anything, technology evolves, so you've always got to have that person kind of looking at it, monitoring it, tweaking it to make sure you get the best for it for the business. So it's a great program, and the fact that you've got the flexibility over salary, I think, is really important to mention as well, because starting from 18.5 to 25 and getting 50% funded, it means that you're not going in just an 18.5. In this day and world when everything is becoming more expensive, HIE are giving you the flexibility to say, well, do you know what, if you want someone that is passionate and really wants to grow within your team, maybe offer them that a little bit more salary, because you want them to stay in the business. You don't want them to leave after 12 months, because that's the ideal goal for me anyway. It's not a short-term project. This is a long-term plan of mine to keep them in the business. So I can only thank you guys again for being that flexible with the salary, because it does make a difference to people when they're applying for jobs now. It's not just a basic salary to come in, it's got to work for them as well. Don't know if Lizi has any questions for me on that.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think just a point to sort of respond to what you said there about it being a long-term project. It's almost an investment really for you, isn't it? And you bring somebody in and you get to know them so well, you work really closely with them, and they get to know the company inside and out too. So you're losing that once they go. But as well, it's good to sort of point out at this stage that it's not you do not have to keep the graduate on. That's not something that you have to do. We have had clients that haven't done that, but majority of the time they do, because of the time, because of the investment, and because there is so much more you could probably think of along the 12 months that will come out, and you think, oh, I could really get some help with this, and then before you know it, they've got another project lined up. So yeah, so thank you very much for explaining that.
No, it's good. And as I said, I mean, the biggest thing in any business is the time. So I think the fact that you guys are there to help with the recruitment process is a huge tick box, because as I said, I've put out job advertisements before, and you're inundated with people. But this COVID world lets us, as you mentioned as well, you're bringing out a national database of graduates. You're not just limited to this area, but you're bringing people into the area, or you're offering someone maybe up in the islands the opportunity that might not have had that opportunity to work with someone on the mainland. So I think there's just so many pros to it. So it's definitely worth, if you're not sure about it, ask HIE, because that's what I did. I didn't know this placement was available, still ongoing. Although I know about it for Harry, it was a couple of years ago. the T&Cs change on that. I didn't think I would be eligible because I think I fell in that bracket of thinking it was more for techie based companies and not really someone like us that's just focusing on digital and marketing, but actually it all falls in, isn't it? Because it's technology, so it does fall in. It's just about planning out what that 12 months would look like for the individual to make sure they get the best experience out of it as well. It's not just about the business. So
yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. And I think potentially that's something we've learned from promoting the programme, is that we need to really make it clear that it's not the sector, it's not the industry that the business is operating in, it's the project itself. And COVID has really accelerated the adoption of digital and technology for businesses, and that's all great, and it's really helped us sustain and be resilient and keep going throughout this pandemic. But there's so much more that could be done with that technology. The potentially things that you're sitting thinking, I don't really know how to use this. We've used this element of, we're not sure what else, and bringing in that knowledge and skills really can help. But I think that absolutely it's not for techie businesses, it's just technology within the project, which I think is just embedded everywhere now, isn't it? So it's just sort of having a sit down and thinking, is this a project? And if it is, am I better bringing somebody in to do that? And just to sort of mention as well, when you said about it being national, the other good thing about sort of coming out of COVID is that we are seeing the graduates are able to remotely work with the business if needed to undertake the project. So of course, depending on what the project is, we've seen there was we had Pure Water International, which was a very hands-on project. They needed to be in the company developing this prototype. That's fine. Of course, you can really do that remotely. But then, you see yourself, Cecilia, you have some remote working in there, and the other businesses that we looked at in the case studies don't all necessarily sit in the business all the time. So it's opening up opportunity and allowing you to not just limit yourself to the people that are within a certain mile radius. It's opening up the opportunity and attracting people to work for businesses in the Highlands.
yeah, it's certainly given us a presence in a different location, which is always a tick box as well for us. So again, there's just so many things that are positive about the experience. And as I said, I've got a cracking lad that's joined the team and he's getting on well with the team. And he's so enthusiastic, he's so passionate about what he's doing. And another thing that he's done in the last 3 weeks, he's made us realise all the technology we pay for, but all the add-ons that we haven't been actually looking at. So he's saying, oh, this has X, Y, and Z, and you already pay for it. And it's amazing how many things that you sign up for and you don't realise all the different things that this technology can actually do. So again, because we are still in a reactive state, because the clients need us to be, it's nice just to have someone completely separate that's in the team but is focusing on a proactive world, not getting lost in the day-to-day that comes in from the clients, because that's what the way that we're all living at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Thanks so much, Cecilia. Before we move on to audience Q&A, I just want to ask, what has been the biggest difference to your business bringing Sean on board? It sounds like he's getting on great, but what's been the best thing or the biggest difference to your business?
probably just what I mentioned there, it's about actually taking a step back and giving Sean all the tools that he needs to be able to do the job, and then sharing all the technology that we actually pay for, and then him coming back and saying, do you use all this stuff? Because you have access to it because you pay for it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, no, I didn't know that. Whereas I might be searching for a training course or something that we already have access to through the portals that we pay for. So that's been a quick learning for me to say, right, okay, we need to allocate time to understand these channels and not just commit to things. It's like, I suppose, when you sign up for membership organizations, there's so many different incentives of being a member. You need to access them all, you can tap into them. So he's been a great help with recognizing that early on, within his first month.
That's great. Sounds like he's getting on great already. That's brilliant. Okay, so we've had a couple of audience questions, which is great. We've still got time, so if you have a question for Lizzie or Cecilia, then just use your question box and we'll get that to them. But first of all, from Gillian, so I suppose this one's for you, Cecilia. You did explain quite a lot about what the recruitment process is like, but Gillian's asking, really, how long did it take from start to finish, really?
It was funny because it's like I like everything yesterday. So when I got in touch with Lizzie and she said we were eligible, she said, "All right, okay, I'm going on holiday next week, but if you get the forms to me, we can do a probably quick turnaround because I think you tick all the boxes, but I need to know your 12-month plan." And then in the end, when she said go and think about your 12-month plan, all of a sudden it wasn't a yesterday priority. So I had to really take the time to do it properly, which was, you know, great. So I think all in all, I think from 8 weeks, Lizzie, correct me if I'm wrong, from start to finish, we had Sean in the business from that initial email with Lizzie to getting him started was 8 weeks.
Wow, that is really quick. That's not what I would have thought.
Yeah, I think it's good to just point out that you know, it's really case by case, and we never really put a time, and I never would say to Cecilia, you know, we will have somebody in 6 weeks' time, because sometimes we'll go through a recruitment process and the candidates just might not have been quite right for the role, and we go back out again, tweaking the job description. Or it might be that, you know, Cecilia could have had quite a lot going on over that few weeks and said, look, I'll get back to you with a revised plan in 3 weeks' time. So there really is no limit, and I think that's again a benefit to the business, because we are in, as you say, quite a reactive state with quite a lot of things, and you know, not having a time limit, not having to rush that process through it is a bonus. So yes, it can be a quick turnaround, but it also doesn't need to be. It really is just case by case with the client.
I think that's worth highlighting as well, because Lizzie, when I was saying, oh, we need someone now, like this would be great to do it, and then you did highlight, you know, if we don't get the right person in the first round of marketing, we will go out to do it again. So it's not like you only get one stab at it. So it's, you know, I was thankful that we did have that 18 applicants, but if there was say only 3 or 4 and I thought they're still not making the right fit, it was really good for me to know the fact that you would do the whole process again and you had everything you needed. And as you said, maybe it was about refining the job description or looking at what, you know, what the actual job was.
Great. Okay, now from Karen. Once the graduate is in post, do they just carry on with the job and that's it, or is there support from HIE throughout the placement? And then what happens at the end when the placement's finished? Do HIE come back on, or does the placement finish and that's it? I suppose the gist of that is, once the placement starts, is there support from HIE, or is it a case of the two are paired up and get on with it, kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in terms of support throughout the placement, you know, we're here for advice and support, whether it's any additional products or services that, you know, the employer might be looking for. HIE has a wide variety of support available to SMEs, but really, you know, the contract is between the employer and the graduate. So at that stage, you know, we're not sort of, you know, knocking on the door saying, what's going on? Have you met these milestones? It really is just to sort of get on with that process. And then as claims are made for the salary element that we are funding, you know, there's just a bit of correspondence there about, you know, what the graduate's been doing. And at that point, you know, that's an opportunity to maybe say, you know, we could really look for, you know, is there any support for training, or is there anything, you know, we can do? And we've had that a few times. But yeah, we're not knocking on the door and giving monthly phone calls, but we are here as support, of course, in the event that there was any challenging situations, or you just were looking for more support and advice.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, next question is from Jane, and she is saying, can a company apply from outside the Highlands Council area, or does it have to definitely be that area? Just if they have funds available, can they? Yeah,
so the business does need to be within the Highland Council area. So as long as there is an office based here, the headquarters doesn't need to be here essentially, but they do need to be based here in some way. So no, if they're not currently operating within the Highland Council area, they couldn't apply. But again, you know, happy to have a conversation with somebody about other opportunities. You know, if there's any plans in the pipeline to move to the area, you know, we're open to conversation, but bottom line, no, if you're not in the Highland Council area, you can't apply.
Great, thank you. Next question from Keith. Is there an expectation from the graduates to be kept in employment after the placement is finished?
No, absolutely not. The contract set out will clearly state that it's a 12-month or however long the placement is, 12-month contract. But as I say, what we tend to see is even if the client has said initially, we're not looking to keep somebody on full time, we just want this system embedded and then we'll carry on with it ourselves, they quickly find, oh, this person's amazing, they've just helped me sort out so many other things in the business, and they've streamlined so much, and they've kind of really just become part of the furniture and can offer so much more. So they've taken them on, but there is absolutely no expectation to keep that person on. It just seems to be that it's in such an investment for the business to bring somebody in, and in a small business you're working side by side with somebody, and because they've just come out of university, most of them, they haven't got a lot of prior knowledge of industry and what it's like to work, so they really are just learning from the employer. Huge benefit. So there is no expectation, but we do tend to see they stay on.
Great, thank you. Can we just go back? We've had another question in from Peter just about the area. Just to clarify for people, is it the Highland Council area or is it the HIE area?
No, it is the Highland Council area.
Okay, that's great. I think that's all the questions that we've had submitted. So unless anyone else asks anything else, I think that's everything. Thank you so much, Lizzie and Cecilia. It was great having both views, and Cecilia as well from your side, just to see how the process works, and great to hear that Sean is getting on so well.
I'll also say thank you very much to both Cecilia and Lizzie. It was a really interesting discussion and insight into the technology placements, and such a good opportunity for businesses, and also for being able to retain and attract graduates to the Highlands. Really brilliant. I'd just like to point out that we've got another 2 webinars coming up, and in December we've got Professor George Gunn, who'll be talking about the opportunities in animal health and aquaculture, and we've also got Dr. Helen Irwood in January, who's going to be talking about the art of regulating medicines and devices post-Brexit. So please do, if you're interested, join us for those NEXUS webinars, and also do just share them with people that you think might quite like that topic. Another opportunity I'd like to point out is Accelerator that we've got taking place in January, and the application deadline is the 14th of December. So if you are interested in applying, or if you know of a business that is, do let them know, and they can also schedule a one-to-one call with Jamie, who's the course director, and they can contact him through pathfinder@skillfluence.co.uk. So do remember that application deadline is the 14th of December. And we're also always interested to find out how you found the webinar, and if you've got any other interesting ideas of speakers that we could approach in future. So please do, when this finishes, fill in the feedback that will pop up. That'd be really appreciated. But we're looking forward to seeing you for our next webinar in December. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks so much, Katrina. All that's left for me to say then is, on behalf of Highlands and Islands Enterprise, thank you very much for a great session today, Lizzie and Cecilia, and a final big thank you to everyone that came in to join the webinar. As Katrina mentioned, our post-event survey will pop up straight after this session, so if you can spare a couple of minutes, it would be great if you could complete that for us. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.